inversion is where you take an interval and you flip the two notes. So for example, here we have C and E. If we change the order of these notes, let's say we have E on bottom, and then we move C up to the top. This is called an inverted interval, all right? So a couple things you need to know about interval inversions. When you start out here, you've got a major third. From E to C natural is actually a minor sixth. So when you invert your interval, the quality is going to change, all right? So if your interval is starting out major, when you invert it, the new quality is going to be minor. Also, another thing to know, your two numbers that you end up with are going to add up to 9. So for example, if somehow you inverted this interval and then you labeled this a minor seventh, that would be incorrect because these two do not add up to 9, they add up to 10. So just to recap that, your quality has flipped from major to minor, and your quantity, both of your numbers here must add up to 9. So 3 plus 6 equals 9. All right, when you're dealing with perfect intervals, it's slightly different, but it follows some similar principles. Let's say we have our interval of a perfect fourth. If we invert this and have F on the bottom and C on the top, so we've moved C up an octave, we've gone from a perfect fourth to now a perfect fifth. So with perfect intervals, the quality does not change. It'll go from perfect, it'll stay perfect. Still though, your quantities will add up to 9. So 4 plus 5 equals 9, you're good to go. So the quality, perfect, doesn't change. Quantities still add up to 9. All right, what about augmented and diminished intervals? Let's talk about those. Let's say we have well, we'll do a similar one. Let's say we have an augmented fourth. When you invert it, now your F sharp is on the bottom. C is up here. This is going to be a diminished fifth. So one thing stays the same. Your quantities still add up to 9. 4 and 5 still equal 9. Okay? Your qualities flip. So you're going from augmented, if you have an augmented interval and you invert it, it becomes diminished. And the same works the other way around. If you have a diminished interval and you flip it, you invert it, your next interval is augmented. So just to recap that, when you're dealing with interval inversions, if you're starting out major and you invert it, your new interval will be minor. If you're starting out perfect and invert it, your new interval will still be perfect. And if you're starting out augmented and you invert it, your new interval will be diminished. And it works the other way as well. If you start out minor, your new interval will be major, and so on and so forth.